Hello and good evening. You're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Hafiz Marzukhi. The government has decided to reduce the retail prices of grade A, B and C eggs by 3 cents each across the country today. This is in line with the government's efforts to pass on the savings from targeted subsidies to the people.
Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim said in a statement that the new retail prices for grade A, B and C eggs are 42 cents, 40 cents and 38 cents each respectively. The statement also outlined subsidy coverage for the people's food needs of 10 cents per egg involves an expenditure of 100 million ringgit, while the allocation for chicken egg subsidies in 2023 amounted to 927 million ringgit. The Prime Minister said that retail prices for eggs in Sabah, Sarawak and Labuan will also be streamlined according to the gazetted areas and zones. He said this measure aligns with the current developments, showing a drop in the input costs of egg production, particularly the basic ingredients for chicken feed.
The government still bears around 7 billion ringgit in subsidies related to diesel in Peninsular Malaysia. Prime Minister Dato Sri Anwar Ibrahim explains that these subsidies were not abolished, but instead rationalised to ensure more efficient management of government funds.
Anwar said savings from the implementation of targeted subsidies will certainly be returned to the people in the form of education, health, public transportation and other sectors that have the greatest impact on the public. According to him, the government will also remain committed to combating diesel smuggling while striving for a balance between the government's efforts and issues of supply as well as the cost of living. On June 9th, Second Finance Minister Dato Sri Amir Hamzah Azizan announced that the price of diesel at all retail stations in the peninsula would be set at 3 ringgit 35 cents per litre, which is the market price without subsidy. This is based on the May 2024 average, according to the automatic pricing mechanism formula starting June 10th. He said the price float and targeted diesel subsidy implementation could save 4 billion ringgit annually while strengthening the country's financial position in the long term. Amir Hamzah said the diesel price will be announced weekly according to the current practice of the Ministry of Finance, and the government will continue to monitor the situation to avoid price instability. However, the subsidy rationalisation does not involve consumers in Sabah, Sarawak and Labuan.
The government is considering imposing heavier penalties on individuals involved in stealing telecommunication cables, which cause service disruptions. Communications Minister Fahmi Fadzil says the punishment will be proposed in the amendment to the Communications and Multimedia Act 1998, currently being studied by the Attorney General's chambers.
Kita dalam membawa pindaan kepada akta tersebut tidak hanya melihat kepada kejadian kecurian, vandalisme, tapi mutu perkhidmatan. Ini juga salah satu perkara yang sering dibangkitkan oleh para pengguna dan dalam penelitian untuk kita bawa ke Parlimen nanti.
Fahmi was responding to a question about the government's action to stop the theft of telecommunication copper cables, which is becoming more prevalent.
The Online Ambassador Initiative, introduced by the Housing and Local Government Ministry or KPKT, will not incur additional costs. Its Minister Nga Khaw Ming says the Sentuhan Maya program only utilises volunteers from his ministry instead of hiring external key opinion leaders, which may cost significantly more.
He said the initiative aims to promote the ministry's products and services through social media, while also building capacity among civil servants in digital tools and communication strategies. Nga's comments came amid concerns from several quarters on a potential overlap with government communication channels. Meanwhile, Communications Minister Fahmi Fadzil earlier said that he is open-minded about the initiative, but will discuss with Nga to ensure better coordination. Nga announced on June 13 the establishment of a team of online ambassadors consisting of 200 ministry staff to counter misinformation and disseminate accurate information and government policies to the public.
Astro AWANI was once again named the country's most trusted news brand, a title it has held for 7 years in a row. According to the 2024 Reuters Institute Digital News Report, in collaboration with Oxford University, Astro AWANI was ranked as top news source with a trust rating of 64%.
The rating, however, was lower than last year's 70%. In the 2024 ranking, Astro AWANI's closest competitors include Radio Television Malaysia, RTM, with a 63% trust rating. 4 other news brands, Malaysia Kini, Berita Harian, TV3 and TV9, were ranked third, each with a 60% trust rating. Astro AWANI also secured third place for weekly offline reach in the categories of television, radio and print media. For weekly online reach, Astro AWANI remained in second place. Overall trust in news in Malaysia has dipped to 37% compared to 40% last year. Trust in news across global markets remained steady at 40%. The report also found that broadcast brands tend to have higher levels of trust, while many politically aligned national language and vernacular newspapers often have lower public trust scores. It added that consumption of traditional media sources, such as television news and print, has been declining for several years, with weekly use of print newspapers having halved since 2017. While online and social media have become a convenient alternative and important sources of news, the report's data show that TikTok has grown by 7 percentage points in the last year in Malaysia, while Facebook news use has declined by a roughly similar percentage.
Encouraging more people to donate blood is crucial given its numerous health benefits. According to academic Dr. Farzana Rizwan, these include reducing the risk of heart disease and cancer. Catch the second part of the report to mark World Blood Donor Day.
So when we donate blood, it in fact stimulates the bone marrow, the blood producing cells in our bone marrow to produce more cells. So as if we are regularly donating, it means that our system will be replenished with more and more young cells, young blood cells in our system. So which is of course healthier as compared to having the cells which are getting older and their metabolisms also reduce. And the other thing is that most of the iron of our body is contained within our red blood cells. Okay, this is many people don't know about this. So when we give blood regularly, so our iron stores and our iron level in the blood remains under check. And why is it important? Because iron is present in the cells and it becomes part of the process through which free radicals are produced. Okay, and we all know that free radicals are injurious to cells, to tissues, to organs, including the blood vessels and including many organs and tissues of the body. So when we keep the iron under check, it means we are keeping the production of free radicals also under check. And these free radicals may cause injury to the various tissues, increasing the risk of heart attacks, increasing the risk of cancer. So when we are donating blood, the risk of heart attacks, there are studies on this. There's data on this, this information is evidence-based. So it will remain under check. So there is lower risk. It lowers the risk of heart attacks and cancer in this way.
We'll go for a short break. Stay with us.
Mereka 100% bersedia demi kemenangan.
The giants of Europe go head to head. Can you believe it? This night just gets better and better.
Marilah menuju kegemilangan bersama kami.
A new hero of football.
UEFA Euro 2024. Kesemua 51 perlawanan secara langsung di Sport TV dengan Astro.
Di dalam setiap berita yang dibawa, konteks amat penting. Kami sentiasa membawakan yang tergempar dan terkini. Pastikan Astro AWANI menjadi pilihan anda, tidak kira di mana sahaja anda berada.
Welcome back. More than 1.83 million Muslims performed Hajj in 2024, slightly less than last year's figure of 1.84 million. This is, of course, according to Saudi Arabia officials. The rites have taken place under the soaring summer heat, which is expected to reach 49 degrees Celsius in Makkah and the sacred sites in and around the city.
The number of pilgrims on the roads leading to the pillars Monday morning, however, decreased significantly compared to Sunday's rites. Security forces, medics and first responders have been deployed in and around Mina, especially on roads and open areas to help the pilgrims. Meanwhile, Astro AWANI's Hafiz Marzukhi was invited for an aerial survey around the holy sites. Among the sites visited include Mina, Arafah and the Grand Mosque.
Eight people have died and around 25 injured in a train crash in the eastern Indian state of West Bengal. The accident involved a goods train that smashed into a stationary passenger train in the New Jalpaiguri area on Monday morning.
The train carrying goods hit the Kanchanjunga Express, which was travelling from the northeastern state of Agartala to Kolkata, causing 3 coaches of the passenger train to come off the tracks. Images of the aftermath showed containers from the freight train scattered on the tracks and 1 coach hanging at a severe angle. It's not yet clear what led to the accident, but authorities say a detailed investigation will be carried out. The accident comes a year after India suffered its worst rail disaster in 2 decades, when nearly 300 people were killed in a 3-coach collision in the state of Odisha.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has dissolved the 6-member war cabinet, according to an Israeli official. This move came amid calls from his far-right coalition partners for a new war cabinet to be established after the more centrist Benny Gantz quit the emergency government.
Netanyahu had faced demands from the nationalist religious partners in his coalition, Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich and National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir, to be included in the war cabinet, a move that would exacerbate tensions with international partners, including the United States. Netanyahu has reportedly turned them down. The Israeli premier is now expected to hold consultations on the Gaza war with a small group of ministers, including Defense Minister Yoav Gallant and Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer, who were in the war cabinet. Netanyahu had earlier criticized plans announced by the military on Sunday to hold daily tactical pauses in the fighting in Gaza to facilitate the delivery of aid. The spat was the latest in a series of clashes between Netanyahu, along with members of the coalition and the military, over the conduct of the war, now in its 9th month. There have also been widespread protests against Netanyahu's ruling coalition, with tens of thousands taking to the streets of Tel Aviv on Saturday to demand a ceasefire with Hamas and call for early elections. Despite mounting international pressure, a ceasefire deal still seems a long way off, as the Palestinian death toll tops 37,000.
That wraps up this edition of AWANI Tonight. I'm Hafiz Marzukhi. On behalf of the team, Selamat Hari Raya Aidil Adha to all.